We're going to switch things up a little bit, and this dork is going to have a pour and talk about some little pint-sized terrors. If anyone out there is familiar with the classic Puppet Master, released by Full Moon Studios in 1989, I'm old enough to remember when that occurred. We had the first in two sets coming from NECA of the dreaded puppets. We have Blade, Tunneler, Torch, and Pinhead. Pinhead is a nice, stout, tiny little head. The scale of these are quite entertaining. They're very tiny. I had the original figures from the late 90s, early 2000s were on probably about a 5-6 inch scale. These guys are probably about 3.5 inches, if that. I have to give my hats off to NECA and Gripe as well. But before we get into any of that, the dork is having a pour this evening, and this evening I am going to pair with the puppets some Wee Beastie from Ardbeg, a wee little 5-year-old feisty Isla whiskey. And so let's start off with these little guys, and well, I'm going to have a little nose. It's nothing like the nose of Ardbeg, and this bottle's opening up. I've had it for some time. I eagerly last year awaited this to hit, and thanks to COVID, there was some delays in the Wee Beastie hitting the States, but it did finally get here. Patience, and it's fantastic for the price, and a good example of how good an Isla Scotch can be, even at the age statement of 5. Now, of course, when we're talking about Scotch with age statements, single malts, that may just be the youngest whiskey that is blended in there. So there could be older whiskeys mixed in with this little feisty 5-year-old age-stated single malt. So it will pair well with the little pint-sized terrors that we are going to cover this evening. So the first two that were released, I think they both hit at the same time. These came in twin packs, really cool. Look like the chest actually from the original movie that the puppets were stored in. Blade and Torch, and then we have Tunneler and Pinhead were paired together, and it's in a split opening box that was great presentation. NECA has an attention to detail that I've come to appreciate. They really do dork out on their packaging, their design, some of the accessories and things they do really impress me. And then, well, there can be some issues. So first issue with these guys is they are very articulated. I'm not going to spend too much time picking these guys up, if at all, given the fact that they are quite a pain to balance, set up, and stay up. And the first box that I opened would have been Blade and Torch. I had gotten almost all of the puppets from the original set of figures that were released except for Blade. I never was able to track down or get my hands on the original Blade, so that was a bummer. But I had Leech Girl, tunneler, pinhead, torch, 6-shooter, but was never able to find blade. So when these were announced a little bit back ago, I was eagerly awaiting their release and was going to pre-order them, but kept hunting the Target right down the road. And fortunately, they showed up. So was happy to get a couple sets of these because I had to have one to open. And I'm glad I did, because upon opening this, I pulled out blade first. Like I said, I was never able to get my hands on blade, and absolutely love the sculpt, the proportions, the articulation, the hinge on the jaw that actually moves, the spiky little eyes, his hat, the trench coat, the texture, paint. Everything is done pretty goddamn well on this guy. We'll take him up for a little bit of a closer view. We got those nice, crazy, spiky eyes. He has his blade. He has his hook. The trench coat, a cinch at the waist that actually I believe is separate, which allows for you to manipulate him for poses. Although, like I said, it's quite a balancing act with these. So then I moved on to torch after opening up blade, and immediately just taking him out of the package, his right foot fell off. So if you see a little blue line in there, that's a little poster tack keeping it in place for now. I figure I'll research and find a way to glue that little peg back into place. But a little bit of a bummer, but he's heavy to the side with his flame, so that's another balancing act to keep him up. His jaw does hinge, and it seems to just want to go extremely open or closed. It's really loose, can't get any other positions with that hinged jaw on torch. And then we have tunneler and the pinhead pack, and I'll say tunneler is probably the most articulated and easy to manipulate and balance. He has two, I believe he may have came with, well, he came with two heads, and so did blade. Pinhead, torch did not. There were a few other accessories that came with these, maybe a couple sets of hands for pinhead and tunneler. This hand would be more perfect for holding that gun, but it's not quite got enough grip to just keep it there, so I have to put it in the other hand. Now, I'm not going to fault NECA for that. I mean, these are very tiny scaled things, and perhaps I should have heated up these joints before I really went about to move things, but I really didn't even have a chance to do that with torch. So the other two, when I opened them up, I did take some time to heat up some of their points of articulation. But even if I had, I didn't even have a chance to do that with torch. His foot just kind of plopped off right out of the package. I have another one, not going to open it, but wanted these to have out to display, and very happy with these guys. Really good sculpts, really good paint. I like the points of articulation that they have going, and definitely even some shirts under there. The pants even look as if they're coming down. I definitely dig the way he did these, even though, oh, there we go, it is quite the balancing act to keep these guys standing up straight. And looking forward to hopefully seeing the rest of these released in this series from NECA. I have a few other of their recent releases that I'm happy with. The 100th edition Predator, perhaps we'll get to him at some point soon. Few others that are going to be covered probably, but I was a fan of Full Moon Studios. I love all grades of horror, from the lowest grades to the, perhaps what people would say are the highest grades of horror films. Always have been, always will. So very happy that they have released these, and hope to see the rest of the line continued here in the near future. The Wee Beastie. There is so much more vibrance and fruit presence, or should I say presence. There is a fruit presence, or on the nose. Yeah, wonderfully. Trying to think of the fruits that are coming out on this. There may be a citrus, but the smoky, salty Ardbeg. But there's a nice richness, really good mouthfeel to this, really good finish. If anybody out there has not had the Wee Beastie and you like a smoky Isla Scotch, do yourself a favor and give it a try. We will get to some more of these reviews, and hope you guys enjoyed this. Until next time, as always, school.